let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist. And it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lies, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be. And if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've always seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean. No longer a thing. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle lines between reality and dreams. I've learned like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've always seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean. No longer a thing. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Oh yeah, y'all, shout out to you. Let's make sure my mic is on. This whole time my mic has been on. Well, shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I do this for my father. What up, Pops? Thank you guys for being here on a Friday night. I know we got games tonight. I know we got a lot of things going on. I want to thank everybody who's watching us on the Discord server. I apologize. I haven't still worked out the kinks. I've got a lot of things going, and I've only figured out a way to display my desktop for you so you guys can see what's on the screen, but you can't see me. You can obviously hear me. I place a higher priority on the Discord chat than the YouTube because you are who you are. You are the MVPs. I appreciate you guys to the fullest. Thank you guys for watching me tonight. Hey, shout out to TikTok. Thanks for being here. If you want to talk to me, you have a question, you want to talk sports, just come over to YouTube, put it in the chat, or join the Discord server. Either way, it's in the details of the video. If you want to know the Discord server's address, you can put it. It's in the details of the YouTube video. Nonetheless, thank you guys for being here. Like I said, if you're on Discord and you're watching, you will have a higher priority. If you have a question, type it in the chat channel of the watch party. I will see it. The last message I see is a bunch of salutes from yesterday, last night. We were having a blast. MVPs hit. If you don't know, we put out a ladder play. We put out some ideas. No locks, just a whole lot of love. And we put the money out there and everybody won. Evan Kramer just chimed in and said, I'm here. Shout out to him. He was at the Troy game. He was celebrating. He couldn't believe what he saw. And that's just Troy dominating, beating South Alabama. Like I figured, South Alabama struggled to score, even though they looked decent. Love their backup quarterback. He played well, but he wasn't about that life. You know, you got to be great if you want to be great. You got to beat a great team. But let's talk about the Pac-12. I'll talk about what's trending. Then I'll look up the matchups, look at the Mountain West. Keep all your questions Pac-12, Mountain West, or the games tonight related. I'll give you my analysis on all the games and the news, and then I'll get to your guys' questions. Go ahead and start loading up the chat with the questions now. If the numbers look low on like, wait, nobody watching Rico anymore, it's because we're split up. It's because all the MVPs are on the Discord channel. We currently have, I can show you guys this on the screen here. Let me pull it up. We currently have over 600 people on the Discord server, so that's an incredible feeling. But the other part that really matters to me is this right here. We are sitting at 1,200 members on the Discord or on Patreon right now. 1,200 members on Patreon. That isn't enough because a lot of them are free members. We're looking at it. Free members are hanging with us, 636 of them. Thank you guys for being here. We're looking for 2,000. We're looking for 2,000. The free members are sticking around. If you didn't know, you can come be a free member of Patreon, and you guys can get all the plays. I give a ladder play a day. What a ladder play is it's a bet of plus 100 or more. That's a ladder play. Plus 100 or more, I'm going to give you a play. So far, we're hitting at 66% on these. And they're not easy. They're very difficult because it's not the simple minus 200 or minus 110. You got to get a plus 100 or more, and I'm hooking you guys up. We hit 2 out of 3 so far. We did miss and have to start over. Let's hit tonight, and we'll be above. We'll be something crazy. We'll be 75% if we hit the one tonight. All right, and the ladder play for tonight, go to Patreon. Find it out. It's there. I put it on the channel. Everybody's welcome to be there, okay? But here we go. I'm going to start talking about what's trending, then I'll get to the chat. So, the biggest news of the day, Deion Sanders demotes offensive coordinator Sean Lewis following the loss against Stanford and UCLA. Well, I talked about this 3 days ago. This is breaking news to everybody else. 2 hours ago, ESPN put it out 3 hours ago. Dude, I did it 3 days ago. And the reason I know is because the players reached out to me, and the coaches and anybody else, they reached out to me and they said, Rico, we're making a change. I said, okay, well, what's the change? Well, we're going to go with Pat Schumer at offensive coordinator. I said, hey, man, that's an incredible thing. How do you want to do this? How do you want me to make news about this? Well, don't be blatant. We got to give it time to let Coach Prime announce it to the world. So just, you can touch on it, but don't go too crazy. So then I came up with a hypothetical. I made a video and said, hey, hypothetically, what if Sean Lewis called his last play? What if he's done calling plays for the rest of the year, and we should probably pick, I don't know, any, mini, miny, mo, give me Pat Shermer. Now, did I already know this in advance? Because I talked about it 3 days ago. How did I know it before the rest of the world? The answer is yes. I knew it in advance. Like many of the things, when I'm right and I break the news to the world, I'm beating you to it. I have facts. I have sources. I'm not guessing. One guy said, anybody could have guessed this. Yeah, buddy, where's your video? Anybody could have guessed this. Of course they're going to fire the offensive coordinator. But the question is, did you know they're going to hire an analyst who can't technically call the plays? Pat Schumer's not allowed to call the plays unless he is promoted to an assistant coach. Analysts, offensive and defensive analysts cannot call plays. Now, Sean Lewis is the one who's created the lexicon and the hand signals. So he's going to still signal in the plays, but he ain't calling shit. It's somebody else reading the menu, right? Now, I don't know if that solves anything. I'm just letting you know that I got it right. I got it right. And that's all there is to it. And people can hate and hate all they want, but I knew it was coming. I was right. And in the chat, people would write things like, you don't know what you're talking about. This is on the offensive line. This is not his fault. I said, it doesn't matter what your assessment of the situation is. Go read the comments on my TikTok video 3 days ago. I don't care what your assessment of the situation is. I don't care if you got a different solution. What I'm saying is going to become a fact. What I'm saying is true. What I'm saying is right. And that really pissed some people off. Well, I'm sitting here today, and I was right. I didn't get to make much content today on TikTok. That's just the nature of the job right now. We're still setting up the server. We're still getting MVPs hooked up. Kim's working a full 8-hour day every day on the help desk. We're trying, y'all. I'm looking at the Discord server right now, and we got so many people coming in and not knowing what to do. When you see welcome and you see all those white names, those are people not signed up as MVPs. The green is an MVP, and these might be MVPs who just don't know how to connect their server. We got to work with each one of these people to connect to the server. They're frustrated, but guess what? There's a whole MVP chat here where everybody's figured it out, and we've got 71 MVPs online right now as I speak. My face is blocking it, but we got 71 over there in the corner, y'all. We got 2 admins online, and everybody's over here. They figured it out. You got to connect it and get it done. Just letting you know. The server's huge. They're all interacting, having a good time. I need everybody to embrace it. It's the way we're going to be. It's the future. And I know all about the future, man. I told you guys, I'm Marty McFly. All right, let's get to it, though. Congrats to Colorado. I hope you enjoy your new play caller and what you're doing. It is what it is at this point. Games tonight. We got Boston College at Syracuse. I'll give you guys the breakdown. Now, I gave a real deep assessment of these two games for the MVPs on Patreon. So if you want to know what I think of these two games and how we should play it, go to Patreon. Become a member, and you'll learn. I also gave a ladder play. So the ladder play should give one away. The ladder play tonight for free on Patreon is Colorado State not being able to handle Wyoming. I got Wyoming winning this game at halftime and at the end of the game. It's a little tough to be winning at halftime and the end of the game, but I'm hoping it happens. This is Wyoming 5-0 at home. They don't lose at home. And this is a pass-first team in Colorado State. It's going to be windy tonight. I don't know if you can throw the ball in that wind. I don't know how accurate you're going to be. I expect Wyoming to win this game. I'm letting you know now. So that's how that works. Boston College at Syracuse. Syracuse defense is slow. Boston College, I hope you're fast. I like Boston College. If Castellanos, if you haven't seen him play, dude's nice. We're going to be doing a live stream. I obviously watch both games at the same time. We'll start at 7:30, but we're going to transition to that 8 o'clock game because it's the ladder play. We got to see it come true. So we're going to watch it all the way through. We got to see Wyoming cover that spread. That's what we're there for. That's what we're here to see. So I'll see you guys tonight at that time for those two games. Obviously, we got a whole Saturday slate. I've covered every game up to this point. All we have left is the Mountain West and the Pac-12. So let's go. Mountain West, these are the results from last week. You see Air Force stomping out Colorado State. It's pretty simple, man. Air Force is a run-oriented team, and just like Boise, they were able to run all over these guys. Braden Fowler-Nicolosi is going to throw for 300 yards. It's going to happen. He's going to get yards, but you're not going to win the game. Air Force is a quality team, and more importantly, when you start looking at these run-dominant teams, they run over Colorado State. Boise ran for over 200 yards on these guys and let them come back and win. It was a miracle. Boise was up 30-10, but they blew it. There's Wyoming at Boise, and, of course, Boise beat the brakes off Wyoming. Boise just ran all over them. George Holani's back from injury. Eric McAllister, the Texas wide receiver, good little guy. But too much for Wyoming. Wyoming, the wheels just kind of fell off. They didn't look the same. I also think Harrison Whaley was not 100% in this game. And Harrison Whaley, the star running back for Wyoming, that's the Northern Illinois transfer. He's a good running back, man. He was injured. New Mexico at Nevada. I told you guys, give me Nevada for the second week in a row. I think Nevada is a much improved team. They're a lot better than people think. Dylan Hopkins is the starting quarterback for New Mexico. Put up some yards, but it's empty stats. Didn't matter. That's the UAB transfer, and they're falling apart. So I like Nevada. They look like they have a pulse. They're fighting and giving it a shot. UNLV at Fresno State, they got to be heartbroken at UNLV. They got to be. They were close. This was a close game. They had a shot, and they didn't get it done. Jaden Maeva, this is a sophomore, redshirt freshman or sophomore quarterback for UNLV. He's 6'4", 240. He's got a lot of game to him, man. He really does. I don't mind him, but couldn't get it done. Vincent Davis, not used to being the leading rusher. I like Vincent Davis. He's a transfer from Pitt. He's the running back for UNLV. And then Ricky White. Ricky White won a state title here in Georgia. He was a good wide receiver in high school. I thought he was the best player on the team when he played at Murrieta. He won the state title with Eric Gilbert and the boys. Kamani Vidal was the running back. They were really good. Ricky White was one of the best players on the team. They go, well, he's a 3-star wide receiver. I said, oh, hell no, this kid's a beast. And he went to Michigan State, and then he transferred. He didn't like what he was doing. Michigan State had some amazing receivers, Keon Coleman and Jaden Reed. They had NFL receivers ahead of him, and he said, I can't be on the bench out here. I need to leave. And he transferred all the way to UNLV, convinced his high school quarterback to show up with him, Harrison Bailey, the kid from Tennessee, who's now at UNLV. These were all high school teammates. It was a great high school team, one of the best I've seen. And they won state, obviously. And Ricky White, UNLV, he's the only one sticking around, and he's making it happen. Team's leading receiver, what a stud. San Jose State shutting out Hawaii. What in the world? Shutting out Hawaii. Chevin Cordero, former Hawaii quarterback. He was at Hawaii for like 3-4 years. Now he's at San Jose State for the last 2 years. Does his job, handles it. Nick Nash, former quarterback turned tall-ass wide receiver, getting it done. So shout out to San Jose State for finally looking like the team they're supposed to. Now let's look at their matchups this week. Colorado State at Wyoming, I already talked about it. I think Wyoming's going to run, and dominate this game, and I hope they play well. Let's hope we're right. Army at Air Force, I have Air Force dominating this game. This is an MVP lock. I can't go into detail about it, but obviously Air Force is much better than Army. Hawaii at Nevada, I think Nevada's got a pulse and a chance to fight in this game, but at the same time, Hawaii can throw. They got shut out last week. I hope they're focused. They got to fly from the island all the way to Nevada, but they got shut out in the home game by San Jose State. Nevada's not as dominant. I think there can be a lot of points in this game because Nevada can always score. UNLV is going to crush New Mexico. Nothing to see there. I think UNLV is going to win by 30. Utah State at San Diego State. I want to say this is an MVP lean, and I have Utah State winning this game. San Diego State's quarterback, Jaden something. Forget his name. He's a former safety. He's a defensive back, so he should be athletic and run, but he sure as hell can't throw. And then the game I would stay away from all day long is Boise State, Fresno State. I think Boise might prove to be the class of the Mountain West. A lot of people were, you're down on Boise because they lost that game against Colorado State, and rightfully so. They should have never lost this game. They were up 30-10 with 5 minutes left. But when you go back and look at this team, look at these losses. Now, that loss at the beginning of the year, no shame in losing to Washington. They're undefeated. That UCF loss, that was a close game. Another close game. They could only have one loss. They lost all these games by 3 points or less. They could have one loss on the season and look extremely dominant right now. So I think they might be the best team in the Mountain West. I know they got the best running back. Genty is the best running back. Sometimes they blow it, man. They blow it and they lose everything at the end. But my goodness, they could be undefeated. Their defense is a little suspect. When they need it to be great, it's not. And when they, I don't understand this one. But Wyoming just doesn't play good on the road. It's the blue turf, man. But they're not on the blue turf at Fresno State. And Fresno State getting back Mikey Keene, that's a problem. That's a problem. They can be feisty. So I would stay away from the game entirely, but you can learn a lot about Boise. You can learn whether or not they're going to dominate these next games, and we'll see what happens with that Air Force game. But that's how I feel about that matchup. Those are all the Mountain West games. Pac-12, last week, Stanford and Washington. Stanford's still putting up a fight. Washington's not impressing me for the last month now. Washington has failed to impress me for the last month. Their defense has given up too many big plays. They're still putting up a ton of yards. They're still putting up a ton of points. They just stopped impressing me. That's all I can say. Oregon, obviously, I knew they would beat Utah. Utah's got no offense, guys. No quarterback play, no offense, and then Oregon puts it all together. I like what Oregon does. They have a great defense, too. So there's that. And then Oregon State, Arizona. I knew Arizona was going to cover the spread, but I told everybody take Oregon State. It was my last miss of the night. We had a great week. We had a great weekend. Don't get it twisted. It didn't hurt me that bad, but it did hurt because some people lost some money on it. But we had a great weekend. So it wasn't too bad. But Arizona should be a top 25 team. They're an entirely different team since they got Noah Fafita starting at quarterback. I don't want to hear about any results until they got Noah Fafita at quarterback. That dude gives you a chance in every game. Noah Fafita's just fun to cheer for. It's amazing. UCLA, Colorado with a backdoor cover. Complete bullshit. But UCLA should have won this game by 50. That's the problem. UCLA had 4 turnovers in the first half and was still winning 7-6 at halftime. UCLA, 4 turnovers in the first half, 2 fumbles, I believe, 2 interceptions. I'm going to tell you right now, when you win a game like that, as dominant as that is, and you had 4 turnovers, should have won by 50. And that just tells me how far Colorado is from the rest of the Pac-12 right now, if you were supposed to lose by 50. Just being real, okay? Colorado looked very dominant on the defensive side of the ball, on the defensive line. USC and Cal. Cal proves they can score on anyone. Cal can score on anyone. USC can't stop anyone, and you outscore them 50-49. It's only because Cal went for 2 at the end. They went for 2. I would have kicked it. You're at home. Kick it, bro. Go to overtime. Use your crowd. Believe in yourselves. But still, USC's defense is porous. Their offense gets a ton of yards, but they couldn't stop Jaden Ott. You see Jaden out there, 153 yards. That's the Cal starting running back. I think Cal can score points on anyone. We got Washington State and Arizona State. So impressed with Arizona State. Finally getting back. Finally looking like they're believing in their coach and Kenny Dillingham and the things they're doing. And then Cameron Scadaboo just dominating the game on the ground, just turning it up. Remember, Cameron Scadaboo, one of my top transfers, one of my top guys I talked about all offseason. He's a mean runner. He's great. Cam Ward put up 315, but those are empty stats. You're not winning. Washington State, before the season started, I had them being one of the worst teams in the Pac-12. And then when the season started and they went 4-0, I was like, I was wrong. I was wrong. This team's winning. I got to respect them. No, I don't. I wasn't wrong. In the offseason, when I said some of the worst teams in the Pac-12 are going to be Washington State, Stanford, and Cal, I should have just stuck with my guns and never thought I was wrong. Because when the cookie crumbles and when all the dust clears, you already know Washington State will be one of the worst teams in the Pac-12. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Some years you lose people, some years you don't. They lost offense and defensive coordinators. They lost their offensive coordinator. Ben Arbuckle's not bad. He's the guy who's calling the plays right now for Washington State. But when you lose Eric Morris, look how good Eric Morris is. Their offensive coordinator is the head coach at North Texas. North Texas putting up points every single week. They just lost in a miracle to Memphis at the last second. They're that good. So there you go. Let's look at the matchups for this week. Arizona State at Utah. I expect it to be a very low-scoring game. Defenses are mean. No one's going to really score in that game. Bad quarterback play. I like that game to be way under. I don't even know what the over-under is on that game. I haven't pulled up my my sports books. Let me see. I can pull it up here. Let me go back. I'm doing it on the other screen. I'll pull it up for you guys. Just don't want you guys to see some of my me cooking, bro. Let me see here. Utah, Arizona State. Oh, the over-under is 39.5. Sounds about right. I still like the under on that. 39.5 for Utah and Arizona State. I still like the under on that. Cal at Oregon. That's an MVP level lock. I won't talk about it. Washington at USC. I'm staying away from it completely. I don't know how everybody just goes, yeah, I'll take Washington. What are you talking about? Washington, I like Washington. I think they're a better team. But look at Washington's performances lately. How can you feel good about Washington? I've seen nothing in here tells me they're going to go in there and dominate USC. No way. They gave up 32 to Cal. Their defense is just as bad. They'd still put up 59 and 50. It's like, what are we talking about? These teams are very similar. Giving up 33 to Stanford. Couldn't do much against Arizona State. In a shootout with Arizona. Sound familiar? In a shootout with Arizona? Yeah, it sounds real familiar. So, I don't feel that comfortable saying Washington. Look at the matchup predictor. Just letting you know. They got Washington favored by 3. Over under 77. I think in some places it might be closer to 80. I think it's going to be under. It can't get to 80. There's no way. Maybe there is. Yeah, there is. There's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. Stanford at Washington State. I'd be surprised if Stanford was competitive in this game. Even though Washington State's one of the worst teams, I still think they're better than Stanford. Oregon State at Colorado, MVP lock. Can't talk about it. UCLA at Arizona. This is a coin flip. I told you I respect Arizona completely in this game. I really do. Let me double check the spread here, and we'll see what they say. But I'm telling you, Arizona, the spread is 2.5 exactly. They got it at 2.5 for UCLA as the favorite. I'm telling you, Arizona can play some defense in this game. I would go with the under because both teams can play some good defense. I would go with the under on this and just hope Noah Fafita doesn't go off. That's how I feel. I think Arizona's probably the better team. Probably the better team just because Garbers can't play as well as Fafita. Just letting you guys know. I know it's a late night game, last game of the night. Some of you will fall asleep and wake up. But I feel like Arizona's better than UCLA. When I watch them play, and I've watched them all play, Arizona looks like the more complete team. I feel like they should be ranked. All right, I'm going to get to the chat. Reminder, if you're on TikTok watching us, move over to YouTube, move over to the Discord. I got you guys. I'm going to take priority. Chat, Discord takes priority over YouTube, then I'll get to it. There's not much chat over here, then I'll get to you guys. So, remember, come join us. Join us on Patreon. Rico, thoughts on the quarterback situation at Arizona? Seems like Noah Fafita has definitely earned that starting job over DeLara. If their defense plus will again, I feel they could beat UCLA. Plays well again. Herbie Hancock, exactly what I was just saying. Didn't know you guys wrote this in the chat. Noah Fafita is the starting quarterback. You don't change for DeLara. Not right now. No way. He's got the fan base behind him. He's got the continuity and camaraderie with his receiving core. He's it, dude. Noah Fafita's it. It's his job, and he ain't losing it. If he does lose it because of some practice performance or some promise to a play, that's crazy. DeLara just needs to sit back and watch his team win games or be competitive in them. I will win tonight. Shout out to you, Bucky. Any new information on what's going to happen with Washington State and Oregon State? Haven't heard anything in a while. No, Evan Kramer, I got nothing. On what they're going to do after the season. No clue. Arizona's going to win. There we go. I love Arizona tomorrow. 100% agree. Thoughts on Princeton, Dartmouth? I don't watch FCS football, especially Ivy League or anything like that. I don't watch that during the football season. I only watch FBS level games. I only have so much time in my day. I have to assess teams, put out props, put out spreads, and then still make content on whatever's trending in the world of sports. It's difficult to keep my job going. I'm here, bruh. I'm barely breathing, but I'm alive. And we're running a Discord server. I only have one employee, and she's working her ass off in another room right now helping somebody named V Brown. So shout out to her. Love you so much. Miss you so much. We live in the same house. She's in another office. It's weird. All right, let's get to YouTube chat. You guys got questions, put it in the YouTube chat. Once the chat runs out, the show's over. So let's go. Howdy, y'all. Pac-12 talk today. Hit up merch needs. If you want some merch, RicoKnows.org. We got all the shirts. Hey, want to see a dead body? Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. We got all the merch. RicoKnows.org. It's a website. Go to it. What up, Lewis Henton? Roll Tide Roll. Good to see you, brother. It is Friday. High school football Friday. I'm excited. I made my Georgia high school update yesterday, right before the game. So let's see what happens. Andres says, how we doing, Rico? Haven't been able to make some of the streams this past week, but finally can make this one. By the way, MVP stay eating on the Discord. Take care. Hey, I can't tell you guys how amazing it feels to come to a Discord server where all the MVPs meet up, talk, interact, exchange their bets, give each other prop ideas, and everybody's eating. That just is the coolest thing ever. It really is. I love it. I'm so happy I could provide that for people. Pretty damn neat. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you guys for believing in me. It's pretty damn cool. So shout out to you. Don Player says, yo, Rico knows the Discord is the best thing. There you go. Thank you. Rico, my G, what up, Black Monies? What's the update and thoughts on the Buffs? Not as excited as I've been with them. The update is they had a good season. The update is they're doing what they can. I had them winning 4 to 6 games this year. It looks like it's going to be 4. I had them beating Stanford, and then they didn't, right? So I had them winning 4 to 6 games. They met my expectations. I'm not disappointed. You got to work hard. You got to win in the offseason, and you'll win on the field. That's all there is to it. Cover to Harmony says, what up, Top? What up, Cover? Calling me Top. Let me tell you guys, I had to go on base today. Give a speech. It was pretty cool. I went to a classroom of about 20 or 30 people transitioning out of the Army, retirees, people who are ETS and getting out, not re-enlisting. And I wanted to give them a speech about my success story as a content creator and retiree and kind of the journey I took to get here. So I shared with them the journey and the success and just try to let them know that anything's possible. And if you do it right, well, you can make a living doing this. I know it's not easy. Last night, I was with all the MVPs during the live stream, and we were watching the live stream, and they were all listing out what they do for a living. And we got aeronautical mechanics. We got people who sell insurance. We got people from all walks of life. And then there I was, and I said, hey, guys, I got a long job list title, like what I really am in the military. I'm a cyber operations expert, blah, blah, blah. And they were just like, nah, Rico, you're just a content creator. You're just retired. It was nice to know that these MVPs come from everywhere. I'm telling you, if we were all together on an island, we could probably build something and get the hell off that island. That's how smart we are. We got a great family of people. So it's nice to see you guys. Thanks for giving me a shout out there, Cover to Harmony. David in Arizona. He's always real smart. Oh, hey, these days are hard for him, man. David in Arizona knows so much about Arizona. He comes in here, asks me so many specific questions about Arizona. It's pretty cool. He says, good afternoon, Rico. Came in late, going to set the speed up. I don't know what he means. Going to set the speed up. I hope he meant the Discord. Right? What up, Green Creo said, right? Hey, Rico, do you think there is anyone that can take the Heisman away from Shedeur Sanders? Yes, I made a video on it this week. I think Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, and Jordan Travis. Did I say Travis Jordan? Jordan Travis. I said it backwards on purpose in my video, and people got upset. They don't understand. I do this shit for clicks. I will intentionally put in one error in every video, and these guys just – I put a hook whenever they just, oh, my God, you don't know what you're talking about. You're so wrong. At least get his name right. I'm like, all right, man, Levi's. What about Will Levi's? You think I don't know how to say Levis? You guys are jokers, bro. Hey, yeah, so anyone can take the Heisman from him. He doesn't win enough games. You got to win at least 10 games to be a Heisman winner. You got to win 10 games. That's all there is to it. Rough day at the office today. What up, Rico? Mike Schmidt, hang in there, man. Stay off the juice, bro. Stay off the 8-ball. Just relax. Sometimes I've had rough days before. I used to just go work out, go for a run, work out, and it was still there. It still sucked. It still lingered. Even in the world of content creation, I've had some rough days. There's been some days the trolls overwhelm the chat. They attack me, things like that. Yeah, it can be difficult when you're dealing with 15-year-olds and a cell phone. I get it, man. Hang in there, bro. Yep, we over here. We over there 100. There it is, locks and trains and busting and moving. Chris E., good to see you, Chris. Ain't seen you in a while. Shedeur is no longer in the Heisman running. You need to have a winning record. They are promoting JJ as the front runner now after Penix struggled. Exactly, and they'll always do that. They'll just promote whoever's on the winningest team. Andrew calls me out for trolling and says Shedeur is winning the Heisman. Shout out to you, Mike Schmidt. Great point. Yo, Rico, if you know why does my membership says paused? Yes, Namone Williams. We've been over this all week long. There is no membership here on YouTube anymore. They paused all my memberships until January 28th, until I can prove that my videos are not reused videos. Until I can prove that I am really Rico Knows and that all my videos were made by me and not somebody else. They think I'm reusing content from TikTok, which I was, but it was my own content. They didn't like that. So I have to clean up my page. Already cleaned it up. So in the meantime, you are not an MVP anymore. You do not have access to MVP level videos. All MVP permissions are now on Patreon. We have transitioned to Patreon, pivoted over to the Discord server, and everybody has access to the information. We're pretty organized if you know how to traverse a Discord server. If you know how to read all the comments, know how to check for pinned messages. You got to learn some things a little bit. Some of you old-timers, some of you guys set in your ways. Rico, I don't like this crotchety technology. Some of you guys are going to struggle. But everybody else is going to be eating pretty good. I'm just letting you know. People have figured it out, and they're doing well. Sharing screenshots, sharing information with each other. It's pretty neat, man. I'm excited for everybody who's a part of the family. Every night, I just see people in there cooking and making decisions and doing it. And it's not just the sports I give them. It's not even just, I don't even give them plays. Sometimes they're like, yo, take this prop, take this bet. And dudes are hitting on their own because they're talking to each other. I don't know. I'm not a gambler, man. They're talking. I just provide my information. Rico, you knew the offensive coordinator was dude's fault enough to lose his spot. Most definitely. Yep, I did. Oh, by the way, Namone Williams, if you want a refund, you got to reach out to YouTube. There's an email, and you can get your refund and get your money back. I suggest you get it. They're not giving me any money. They're holding it, and they're actually claiming I owe them money. I don't even want to show you guys. They put me in negative dollars. I don't know where they plan to get the money from me. I'm letting you know that right now. I don't owe them no money. They didn't pay me nothing. It isn't trolling. I personally believe Shedeur has been amazing considering his circumstances. Oh, well, Andrew, if that was the case, there are a lot of players that are being amazing because of their circumstances. There are really good players on losing teams. I will tell you that right now. There are players filling in admirably due to injury. They're trying their best, and they're making do with what they got. That doesn't mean they should win the Heisman. Right? That doesn't mean they should win the Heisman. Shedeur isn't in the top He isn't in the top 3 quarterbacks in his conference. Let me make that clear. He's not in the top 3 quarterbacks in his conference. So what are we talking about? You're talking about the entire country? There's other teams in other conferences and other players that are far more impressive in their circumstance. Period. Shedeur would have to be winning these games to be considered a Heisman. He would have to be pulling his team out of failure, right? He would have to be the sole reason they're winning games. Instead, he's not winning games. He's just getting empty stats when nobody's looking. He's getting empty stats in losses while trailing. It does not matter. The stats don't even matter. I've seen guys lead the country in passing and no one gives a shit. I've seen it all over the place. You kidding me? Aiden O'Connell was throwing everywhere. That didn't matter. Last year, Charlie Jones, one of the nation's leading receivers, he didn't win the Biletnikoff. He had over 100 receptions. Nobody cared. He was at Purdue. No matter. And at least they made it to the conference championship game and lost to Michigan. You got to do something. But it's not happening like that. Nope. Sorry, Andrew. He will have a chance at it next year if they help that offense and defensive line. Beef it up. Yep. Rico, do you think offensive coordinator from Colorado deserves to lose his spot? I think you have no other choice but to point fingers at other people. I really feel that way. It's weird. But you got to blame somebody. I would have kept him. And built. I would have understood. We understand this is a process. This is a process. Pat Schumer's not going to be your offensive coordinator moving forward. So now you just demoted your guy, didn't fire him because he's the only one who knows how to give the hand signals. And that's it. That's crazy. To me, that's nuts. But that's a conversation between Coach Prime and his son. Let's make this clear. Coach Prime made this move after talking to his son and getting his son's opinion on how the offense is being run and the play calls. They're going home and having dinner and saying, hey, Dad, I didn't like what he did here, or there. That's how I feel it goes down. This is between his son and the head coach, which might sound crazy, but it's the truth. It's the truth. How only 8 likes? This is free. What is wrong with the chat? This is YouTube, man. YouTube, they don't hit the like button. They don't even know how. They don't know what they're doing. Doesn't bother me any. It's real. How much dirt does Alex Grinch have on Lincoln Riley? I think he's got photos. He's got to have nude photos of Lincoln Riley doing something. Yes, offensive coordinator lacked creativity, no motion or max protection, ever schemed. This is true. Instead, we get a 5 wide out play on every down, no running on Stanford game to eat up the clock. Those are just some examples, Chris E., but I totally agree. Another thing is, I want to say the offensive coordinator, while he's calling plays, he's not determining the packages coming in. So the position coaches are doing that. Who's in the game at this very moment getting their reps? I believe those rotations are determined by the position coaches. So if you guys get mad, like, why did they change wide running backs? Why are we only doing this? Why are we only doing that? It's a position coach decision, not the offense coordinator, from what I understand. Right? So the play calling is the concern because he's calling the plays, but I think they've empowered the position coaches to put their groups together and how they feel they should be on the field, which is pretty cool, right? You win over your positions coach. This is what happened at Clemson with their running back room a while back, and they were arguing, and, man, what was his name? Their running backs coach, I forget his name right now, and I should never forget his name. He's a really fast guy from back in the day. Dabo was like, you want me to argue with my running backs coach? He knows everything about running backs. I'm going to trust whoever he says should be in the game. And, yeah, because they were talking about Will Shipley was in the game over that who's that kid that left? He went to Tennessee, and then he washed out of nowhere. It's like LJ or something, LB. Man, names are escaping me right now. I apologize. But, yeah, offense coordinator, not calling the right schemes. That's the problem, theoretically. Rico, Arizona is at home. Arizona by 7. Shout out to the Zoo. Shout out to the Wildcats. There you go. All right, real quick, I'm going to jump over to the Discord chat. I got something over here. Thoughts on Will Shipley? Will Shipley does not play in the Pac-12. We'll not talk Will Shipley until Monday, but thank you for asking. Wins still matter for Heisman. No shot he wins. Exactly. Yeah, Will Shipley's in the ACC. One last Arizona question, Rico. Do you feel they will get better recruits this year than they've had so far switching conferences? I don't think switching conferences helps Herbie Hancock. I don't think it helps at all. I think winning helps. Winning helps and good development. They've been doing all right. They just need to see. We need to see how they'll do in the transfer portal. The recruits shouldn't make your too deep. The recruits should be on the bench developing, but your transfers should make your too deep and starting immensely. The biggest issue Arizona had was losing Singer this offseason, losing about 12 guys at depth. They lost a lot of players to UMass, right, following Don Brown, former defensive coordinator. It's just a tough time when you're Arizona trying to develop your team, get your players out there, and create your brand of football, and then you lose them to USC or somebody else. That just sucks. You don't want to be losing your star wide receivers, your star DBs. Shout out to Roland, right? Roland Wallace when he left. It's just tough. It's just tough, man. Christian Roland Wallace. So, yeah, Arizona's doing well, but can't keep it up like that. He had 2 weeks to scheme for UCLA game. No changes, same thing. Colorado has regressed offensively every game since TCU game. So, Chris E., what I'll tell you is before we go there is remember the Pac-12 is a hell of a lot better than TCU. The Pac-12 has great teams compared to TCU and Nebraska. So it's not that they've regressed. They're not getting the same easy matchup. TCU had a three-man front, 3-3-5. You run into the Pac-12, they've got huge Samoan-infused defensive and offensive lines. They're just mean, man. And it's hard to keep up with the way the Pac-12 teams are built in that regard. So, yeah, they matched up well with TCU. But given injuries and a different scheme, you see the dominance of the Pac-12 defensive lines, and it's not even close. And that's what's happening. When they were against TCU at the beginning of the year, it was a fresh thing. It wasn't necessarily, injuries or depleted or depth. The first game of the year, everybody's 100%. That's why I said, first game of the year, no injuries, give me Colorado. And I was right. Now we're much deeper in the season, and we got injuries everywhere, and they don't match up well. No. One last question. 100%. Thanks, Rico. Love being able to ask you and others questions in the Discord. Great experience so far. Shout out to you, Herbie Hancock. I hope you're a lifetime member. That's what we're here for. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad you guys love it and like it. We're just going to keep this going, and hopefully I can do this for the next 10 years of my life and then sail off into the sunset and you guys never see me again. I don't want to work past 50. But I'm glad we can provide a service for you, man. I did not know that. Good assessment. There you go. Interesting segment on the Herd today. Colin Cowherd said Coach Prime will not be able to live up to the massive expectations brought on him at the start of the year. Thoughts? My thoughts are you watched a different episode of Colin Cowherd. That did not happen today. Andrew, it doesn't matter the circumstance. At 4-8, quarterback will never make it to New York unless he buys a ticket. Do you think Traden Sturks out of Arizona can go NFL? I will be doing NFL assessments, LB, after the season. Once players declare, I then do NFL assessments. If they're younger or they don't declare, I don't bother assessing them. That's when I give answers. You need help, sweetie? Okay, thoughts on pretty boy Caleb Williams playing following the Notre Dame disaster? Well, he wants to play, wants to help lead his team and keep putting up points. I don't know, more power to him. I hope he puts up a good show against Washington and gets back in this thing. But chances are he's just wasting his time getting some stats. More power to him. What do you think about Colorado moving on a play caller on offense? Gorgeous Bear, I talked about this 3 days ago on TikTok, and I started the show with it. So if you can just rewind the show, you can watch what I had to say about it. Jonah Coleman, the most slept-on running back in the country. Shout out to Davison Colston. I like Jonah Coleman a lot, but I also like Jay-Sean Luke, the speedster running back out of Arizona. I think those are good players, man. Shout out to you, Davison Colston, just for knowing. This isn't Pac-12, but do you think Tyler Buckner has any juice left in the tank? Once again, I discuss independent schools or I discuss SEC schools on yesterday. So you could ask me that question yesterday, LB. I got to keep it specific to the conference, so I cover every conference every single week, and you ask me those questions on the given day. So the first day is ACC. That's Monday. with the Independents and Conference USA. Then on Tuesday is the Big Ten with the MAC. Wednesday is the Big 12 with the American Conference. Thursday is Sun Belt and the SEC. And then today is the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. Make sure all your questions are Mountain West related or Pac-12. I got you. Sorry, I'm not blowing you off. How do you feel about the 2-quarterback system at Boise State? Usually not a fan of 2-quarterback systems, but it seems to be working out pretty well. Mike Schmidt, I actually think it's working out terribly. So if I'm clear, if I'm being dead honest with you, Boise State, Andy Avalos, their head coach, former wide receiver for Boise State, he has not developed quarterbacks well. Hank Bachmeier leaves. He's now the starting quarterback at La Tech, but they didn't develop Hank Bachmeier really well. And now Taylon Green this year has been so disappointing at quarterback, they had to go to a 2-quarterback system and find somebody else to throw. This is a guy who we thought was going to be Vince Young-like this season, and he's not. He's terrible. So it's just something to think about. I don't think they're developing quarterbacks well at Boise State. I think it's a problem, a long-range problem. They had Sid Vidlak transfer out. He's now in the FCS. He was a transfer from Oregon State. A lot of things are going wrong with Boise at the quarterback position. I'm not impressed with Maddox or whatever they're doing out there. I'm just not. You think it's working out pretty well. What's working out well is they're handing the ball off to Gentry, and he's rushing for 200 yards. And they're throwing to one wide receiver in Eric McAllister and no one else. That's what's working out for Boise State, not their quarterback. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. I've been a fan of Prime Time since his playing days, but I think you're spot on. There's real nepotism in that program, which is going to affect the success they have the next 2 years if Shedeur stays. Yeah, the reality is the best DB they got is Shiloh Sanders. The best quarterback they got is Shedeur Sanders. So it's not that the nepotism is the issue. The players are playing, and they're the best players. They just need more talent to be competitive in the Pac-12, which is a very strong conference. Next year in the Big 12, I think they'll be more competitive in a lot of their games. It's an easier conference. Better, easier teams. Reality, straight up. You're not running into juggernauts that are going to make you look embarrassingly bad the way Oregon did or what UCLA did to you or what Washington could have done to you if you played them. USC going out there and just putting up 40-something points on you. Like, that's not going to happen in the Big 12 theoretically. You can play with those teams. Look what they did. They were competitive with TCU. They beat TCU. They beat Nebraska. They can beat that caliber of team. Once you get to the Pac-12, you can't beat those caliber of teams. There's a problem out there. And it's professional quarterbacks and defensive linemen from the island of Hawaii. Like, that's what it is. He already lived up to the expectations. They predicted Colorado would win less than 3.5 games. He exceeded that. Collins' takes sometimes are head scratchers, came late and had to pick leftovers in the portal. Yeah, Chris E., don't worry about that. That's not true. Mike Schmidt made that up. He does that every time. It's his shtick. Mike Schmidt will say today on the Herd show something. It's not true. He's just making it up. There was no Coach Prime was not talked about on Colin Cowherd today. He just says that every day. So don't even reply, Chris. You're too smart for that. Insiders are projecting that Drake May will be picked over Caleb. RicoKnows already told you Drake May's the best quarterback in the draft. I like him better than Caleb Williams. I don't think Caleb Williams is going to succeed the way people envision. Someone said Tyler Buckner is good with a question mark. Donald Larham, they just asked if he had any juice left. Why does Oregon State take DJ Uiagalelei out for one drive every game? They got a kid, and they want to play him. That's all there is to it. They got a kid, and they want to play him. Aiden Childs is the quarterback they keep bringing in. He's a good player. Coming out of high school, they believed in him and all that stuff. But I would leave DJ Uiagalelei in, let him get his rhythm going, but they're rotating. I don't know what that's about. I trust the coaching staff. They did it last year, too. That wasn't good with Jebbia. I just didn't like it. But, yeah, that's a weird one, bro. I'm with you. He should easily be picked over Pretty Boy Williams. The difference in poise between the two is massive. Pause. What do you think about Raleek Brown coming back to play against Washington? So, Raleek Brown, if you guys don't know, this is a former running back out of modern day. I think he's one of the best players no one knows about, or if you know about him, I think he's one of the best players underutilized. But I also think he needs to transfer. I don't think he should be playing. USC's not using him, and he needs to go somewhere else. He go to Fresno State and dominate the world. He go to any team, but I hope he doesn't go Power 5 to Power 5. He reminds me so much of Reggie Bush, but Obviously, he's not Reggie, apparently. They got real running backs at USC. They got real receivers, and they just kind of moved away from Malik Brown this year. And I thought he was going to be one of the third biggest offensive weapons for them, and he's not. So coming back from injury, coming back to play against Washington, I would just redshirt the whole damn year. That's what I would do. But I like the kid. He's just not being used. He just didn't earn it. So it's weird. Single-handedly lost against Marshall at Notre Dame. Tyler Buckner? Yeah, I hear you. No, I meant, how do you think he's playing since the Notre Dame game? Sorry for the confusion. I don't know who you're talking about, Mike Schmidt. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know what's going on. Colorado will be fine. They already have Shador replacement and 4-star recruit. They have 2 quarterbacks coming in. Yeah, so Antoine Hill, A.J. Hill, out of Houston County here in Georgia, stud quarterback. He's not a dual-threat quarterback. He's a professional quarterback. I think he's good. I've loved watching him play all year here in Georgia. I think that's not the issue, though. They need to find linemen, and a lot of them in a hurry. They need to find big linemen, hungry linemen, grown linemen. They need to do something. But they're struggling with what they have. So it is what it is. Hey, Rico, Arizona or UCLA? Please rewind the show. I already talked about it, GFT. I already talked about it. How much of that stunted development falls on Taylor Green directly? Mike Schmidt, if I had to put a percentage on it, I don't know the young man personally, but if I had to tell you guys that development among players is on the player, not the coaching staff. We give so much credit to coaching staffs. Development at the collegiate level is the player. You have to want it. You have to study the film, lift the weights, go to class, learn the playbook. You have to do everything yourself, and some players are in the offseason hanging out, partying with girls, and not focused on their craft, right? You should be focusing on your future profession. You study books and take units and pass classes for a degree. Well, you should be working out and working towards your degree. But you know what? Every day they're out hustling on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever they're doing. They're not focused on becoming professional athletes. And that's why you don't develop. And you think you can just go out there and play football. And you go out there and play all you want like that, but somebody else was working on their craft all offseason and beat you. And that's what's happening to Taylor Green. Time for him to get a consulting job. Donald Larham, I don't know who needs to get a consulting job, but it might be funny. What do you think about the offensive coordinator collar change at Colorado? Slap Happy, I talked about this 3 days ago on TikTok. I made a video about it, and I told you guys this was going to happen. I think it was going to happen, and I got it right. That's all there is to it. I don't think Washington is that good. I don't think Colorado would struggle against them like Oregon game. I still believe Oregon is the best team in the Pac-12. They might technically be the best team in the Pac-12, but Washington would absolutely beat Colorado 50-0. Washington's defense is far more physical than they can handle, and they would score on every possession. Washington would win 50-0, just like Oregon should have. Those two teams are way echelons better than Colorado, like by a wide margin. There are people, let me put it like this. When I look at Colorado, I don't want to exaggerate, but I don't think a single player at Colorado could start at Washington. Not a single one. I want you to think about that. There is not a single Colorado player that could start at Washington right now. Any position. Just keeping it real. That's how I evaluate teams. Okay, thanks. Got it. Jalil Muhammad, thoughts? So, Jamil Muhammad, transfer from Georgia State to USC. Stud pass rusher. Good defensive addition. I think he's a good player. I hope he's doing as best he can. He's an athletic kid. He's tough. Yeah, I like him. That's my thoughts. I like him. Do you think Grinch gets fired finally? I would hope so, man. I would hope Grinch gets fired. I would have to hope, man. What else do you have to do to get fired? Like, what else? How else do you keep your job? If he doesn't get fired, he's got pictures of Riley doing some incriminating things. And you might as well look at Lincoln Riley and say, yo, you're in an open relationship, bro. You guys ever seen them dudes who won't leave their girl? Like, she's cheating on you, and then you're just like, nah, I'm going to stay with her, man. You know, it'll be her last time. She's not going to do that again. She just messed up. What do you mean she messed up? I remember this one dude, man. A true story. I remember this one dude was married in the Army, and his wife was in the barracks with another dude. And I can remember I was on staff duty. He wanted to get in the room to talk to his wife, who was in the room with this dude. What's she doing in there? How'd she get there? How many conversations took place and text messages took place to get there? And he never got in the room. I couldn't let him in because I didn't know what he was going to do to this dude. So he just said, I'm going to go back home. Y'all, they're still married today, bro. He went back home. They're still married today. I don't know anybody. I don't know how you do what you do. I don't know how you get down, but I can just tell you. You don't run shit. You don't run shit. If your wife is in the barracks, you don't run nothing but your mouth. My point is you're in a dysfunctional relationship. You're in a dysfunctional relationship and you actually don't dictate what happens in your life. And Lincoln Riley is in a dysfunctional relationship. He needs to get away from this person that he's been partnered with for so long, and it's just tainted his existence. He might be a great offensive mind, but if he doesn't get away from that dysfunctional relationship, he's going to always be a failure. Shout out to that dude who's still married to that trick, that barracks bunny. Right? That's how it gets down. I can't deal with it. Let's get Raleek out here in Madison. We're going to be looking for a back in the portal this year. He could definitely start to be productive. Bobby Albright, and you know what's really cool about that? That's a great idea. Raleek Brown leaving USC. One of his high school teammates is C.J. Williams. C.J. Williams is already at Wisconsin. So that sounds like a match made in heaven. They need a running back. They need a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. He is the guy. That sounds awesome. I would tell you right now, Bobby Albright, that's a great suggestion. Raleek Brown should transfer to go be with his old teammate, C.J. Williams, at Wisconsin. I think that's awesome. What a great idea. I don't know if you realize you just stumbled onto that. Evan Kramer says, I got to know who Washington's starting corners are, then who's starting over Travis Hunter. Hey, Evan Kramer, great job, great observation. I can't name them off the top of my head right now, but I will make a video about it. And here's what I think. I don't think Travis Hunter is a great DB. I know you guys saw 2 interceptions last week against UCLA, but Travis Hunter is a zone defensive back, not a man. He's great when he's facing the quarterback and he can see the throw. He doesn't match up well with wide receivers in man coverage. So for me, I don't think he's a great DB. I think he's a good wide receiver, but he ain't better than Polk. He ain't better than Rome. Like, he ain't built for some of those Washington wide receivers. They're good, man. They're just good players. But you do have a point. He's probably better at corner than somebody at Washington. I just don't see it. I just don't think he's a great corner. Travis is cracking the starting lineup on offense at Washington. You obviously haven't watched a lot of Washington football. Their wide receivers are amazing. Theoretically, he'd be the nickel corner. I'm just letting you know. He'd be a rotation at best. Oh yeah, he's better than Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy Bernard, the transfer from Washington State. He's probably better than him. He's the third receiver, for sure. Do you think if Arizona wins out, they can play in the Pac-12 championship? I haven't checked to see the scenarios yet, Solu. I have not checked the scenarios, but if they win out, I don't think they can. They would need other teams to lose, like a lot of them, because it's not north-south. They would need to figure something out. Other teams got to get 2 losses. Arizona lost to USC in triple overtime, right? So if USC beats Washington, then we're not even having this conversation. They do not control their own destiny. Tyler Buckner can be a cookie-cutter Notre Dame consulting grad. Claim to fame is turnovers on the football field, but as in the classroom. Yeah, but A's in the classroom. Yeah, Donald Larham. He reminds me so much of a less talented Clausen. Remember Clausen? Their quarterback, what was his name? Clausen. He was bad. Not Nick. Rick? No. I forget his name right now. He was bad. Anyways, Lincoln Riley, next head coach of the Raiders. Whoa. Why not? I don't know. I think there's other options. Jimmy Clausen. My bad. Yeah. Jimmy Clausen. Yeah, Lincoln Riley, next head coach of the Raiders. What a stab in the dark. Damn, a barracks bunny. Hey, they call me truly There's some stories out there. You've been in the Army over 20 years. You can come up with some stories. Rico, do you believe Amari McNeil is an NFL talent? So, Amari McNeil is an SEC transfer, right? So, he was at Tennessee. Couldn't really dominate at Tennessee. Wasn't in there too deep. Was a reserve lineman at Tennessee. Transfers over to Colorado. I think he looks the part. Is he an NFL talent? I would have to assess him after he declares. Whenever he declares, he's still really young. But he looks like an NFL defensive lineman. He has the right size, but so do a lot of guys who aren't in the NFL, right? You got a lot of big guys. They're not. There's tall dudes walking around right now, not in the NBA. There are big dudes playing college football that won't be in the NFL. And Amari McNeil, I couldn't go out and say he's an NFL talent. When I look at the Colorado defensive line, the only guy that sticks out to me that has a little bit of flash to him, and you wouldn't realize it, is Jordan Dominic. Jordan Dominic's great, man. He had 7.5 sacks last year at Arkansas in the SEC. Good enough for 4th in the conference. And he's doing the same thing. He's like having these moments where he has these spurts of greatness on a play or two. So I like Jordan Dominic to be a rotational guy and maybe make a team. He looks kind of cool, but I don't know. Amari McNeil, I haven't seen an NFL caliber anything out of him. The other kid that was supposed to go to the school, he's the transfer at West Virginia. The kid who left Kentucky, Durjani or Durjan or something, Big J, something. I know his name if I check my database, but man, that guy, Durjay, that dude, man, if they had gotten him, they would be in the money. He's playing great. So, and you see West Virginia's defensive line is actually one of their stronger points on their team. Nice barracks analogy, Rico. Reminds me of Colin Cowherd. There you go. Shout out to you. Shout out Washington. Status against Washington. Didn't Washington State struggle against Arizona State? What is this world team status about Washington? You're talking about Washington. Okay. Didn't Washington struggle against Arizona State? They did. They did struggle, and it was a bad matchup for them. Maybe somebody stole some signs. I don't know. They did struggle, though. Hey, Rico, let me get back over here. Great game to be at to watch Vidal break the rushing record. Yeah, last night. That's not a Pac-12 or anything, but shout out to Drock for pointing it out to Evan Kramer. Hey, Rico, co-signed Raleek to Wisconsin. Now let's make it happen. Contact who you need to contact. Make it happen, Rico. I know the receivers are amazing, but he's at least getting on the field a good amount. So, Bobby Albright, CJ Williams is in my DMs. He does follow my TikTok channel, so I can reach out to him and tell him to call one of his old high school teammates and make it happen. I could do that. I could send him a DM and ask him if he can pull him over. They were high school teammates. It happens. You know, I could make it happen. You never know. But maybe Raleek wants to play in the Pac-12 or the Big Ten, or you don't know what conference he wants to play in, so you got to be careful. Maybe he wants to play in the Big 12. We'll figure it out. Maybe Mountain West. Who knows? Stay close to home. Go to San Diego State. Something like that. What really is missing at ASU and Stanford for both matched well with Washington? What could be their next steps to dominate? Well, dominate's a very strong word. Dominate's a strong word, and both teams are in different situations, Solu. Both teams have new head coaches, Kenny Dillingham and Troy, right? The problem is they're going to different conferences next year. So Arizona State's going to be in the Big 12, and Stanford will be in the ACC. You want to dominate in the ACC, you're going to have to improve a whole lot more. They got really good teams in the ACC at the top. There's at least 3 good teams. Stanford doesn't match up well with them. They do match up with everybody else. Arizona State, they can be competitive. They can be fine. It's just winning in the transfer portal where it really matters. Stanford can't do that in the offseason, so they got to recruit. They did get Elijah Brown, the modern-day quarterback. He's been the starter at modern day since he was a freshman. 4-year starter at the best high school in America. Like, that's really good stuff. Stanford's got a team. They got a wide receiver in their recruiting class. Oh, my goodness. You guys want to know, I went and watched some tape because, you know, I do my studying. And there's a kid, Stanford recruiting class. And I'm going to go 2024. So he's coming in this year. Stanford football commits this year. Let me pull him up. So there's Elijah Brown, the guy I told you guys about. He's the business, right? But wide receivers, this kid right here, Emmett Mosley from Santa Margarita, This kid is great. Emmett Mosley's sensational. I really love his huddle film. Go watch his huddle tape. Emmett Mosley was great. Another guy that was good was Stevenson. But I didn't like the kid from New Jersey. I didn't like Ross. I thought he was slow. He didn't look too impressive to me. But my goodness, is Elijah Brown and Emmett Mosley going to be a problem? Now, they need other positions and other players. But that looks so good, guys. Elijah Brown and Emmett Mosley. I like Stanford's recruiting. I've been pretty impressed with them. So I hope they figure it out as they go. But the reality is you got a new coaching staff. You just need to give them time to cook. You need to give them time to do things. That's it. Do you think ASU can beat Utah tomorrow? No. I mean, they could. Utah can't score. They got a terrible offense. But I'm tired of betting against Utah winning games, and then they do. I think Utah's got a good coaching staff, and I think Utah has been there a time or two. I think Utah's going to win that game. It's not going to be a high-scoring game, but I like Utah to win it. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, but Utah wins. Yeah, Jimmy Clausen was a bum. Pretty sure he was good at Notre Dame. Yeah. Hey, so you guys know, when Jimmy Clausen got drafted, Mel Kiper said, if he doesn't succeed, I'm going to retire. I think he's that good. And I think Mel Kiper is getting paid to say this. But he said, I'm going to retire. And he gave him 3 years to retire. Well, that was 2017. He should have retired. Should have retired because that dude's trash. Just letting you guys know. Do I need assistance to join the DC? Nope. I got you. Top JP is in. What up, what up, what up? Nope. You can get in. No problem. Discord's here. It's free. Or you can become an MVP and turn green. Either way. Message CJ. I'll message him. Is Jimmy Clausen related to Casey or Rick Clausen? I don't remember. I'd have to double check D-Rock. I don't know off the top of my head. Apologize. Thoughts on Derek McLennan, the FSU transfer now at Colorado? The first thing that comes to mind, Davion Colston, is disappointing. Disappointing. Derek McLennan, former Florida State defensive lineman, started every single play with them. Sorry, Ash is chewing on her toy. Started every single game. Wasn't like a huge stat stuffer, but he's a quality player. Gets to Colorado, and he's been very underwhelming. Now, he was pivotal in getting a lot of Florida State transfers over to the school, so I can't be mad at him for that. He was part of the recruiting process to get them in. Getting over Travis J, Gant, Bishop, just a lot of guys coming over from Florida State that, they were all practice squad guys. They were all out there just saying we want to be a part of something. But, man, has he been underwhelming. Derek McLennan's been terrible. And what's worse is I actually expected a lot from him. If I can show you guys. Sorry for the squeaking. It's so funny because my baby girl's just sitting here, doesn't care about you guys. Top 50, you can see here how wrong I was in the preseason. I actually thought Derek McLennan would be the 5th best transfer on the defensive side of the ball. These are my defensive transfers. These are my offense. And I missed on a couple of these guys. Obviously, Nick Jackson at Iowa, Travis Hunter, Mason Cobb at USC, Deshaun McCullough at Oklahoma. And there you go, McLennan. I have him ahead of Elijah Huzzie, who's killing it. Haven't even seen Larry Nixon do anything. There's just guys I missed, and there's guys I got right. Adari Halsey's been playing every single play. Thomas is playing great. Jacob Roberts probably belongs in the top 5 at Wake Forest. He's amazing. But you make assessments in the preseason, and you have to guess how these guys are going to play, not get hurt, be utilized, and you'll be wrong sometimes. And I've been wrong in some places. But you know what? When 24/7 Sports tells you Ernest Hausman's number 1 or Braden Fisk is number 1 or number 2, like they were so wrong. These guys ain't in the top nothing. They're not great. There's Shiloh Sanders. There's B.J. Davis. I like his game. But there's Jordan Dominic, right? It's a who's who list, but some guys are wrong. I got to go back and redo my rankings at the end of the season. But we'll see what happens. I really believed in those guys. 1 second. I didn't mean to minimize it from this page because sometimes I pull it up. So, yeah, I'm not too impressed with your boy, Derek McLennan at all. And I thought he was going to be good. When you said Colorado needs some big guys, how big are we talking? I almost want to see if I can take a shot at it. They call me truly. I don't really care how big they get. They need to be able to play football. David Bailey out of Stanford, I think, needs to transfer. He's ready to explode onto the scene. He was dominating at Mater Dei. There's a lot of guys that transferred out of Stanford this past offseason. I don't think it's done. But I also want to tell you that I think the culture at Stanford is really improved. And you're going to be hard. Troy Taylor, head coach, you're going to be hard losing players. Like, I don't think he's going to lose a whole lot of players in the portal. I think they like him. And if they do lose players, it's going to be guys who couldn't make the two deep. That's real. Stanford loves what they're doing right now. They're getting encouraged by their performances and how competitive they are in their losses. They're not getting blown out like they don't belong here. They're fighting. And if you ever saw that fight against Colorado, that's believing in your coaching staff, right? You go down 29-0 at the half, you show up, and you follow your coaching staff into battle. Vegas paid Mel to say that. Not Vegas, Donald Larham. Jimmy Clausen's agent. Agents pay for that kind of shit. At least I fit in that area. Word. You're over 300, you're good to go. Looking forward to the after-the-season top 50 with Chris Lewis in the top 10. Hey, Chris Lewis transfer from Kentucky to Troy. Wide receiver, been so dominant. And, yes, he missed my list of top 50 for sure. Prime ain't that hard to find. Give him a call. I'm 6'7", 300 pounds, but I've never played before, so I doubt I'd get that far. Whoa. You're a huge dude. Pause. But you ain't never played before. We don't need you. We don't need you. Hey, guys, thank you. That's my time. Thank you for being here for Pac-12. I hope you got all the breakdowns at the beginning of the show. Once again, shout out to all the MVPs. We're on Patreon. Join the Patreon. It's $25 a month. Hit the server chat. Get on the server. Get on the channel. Discord has all the information. I already have props put up for tonight's games. I have all the picks for tomorrow already posted, and you can come in and get all your picks. I'm going to go help with the help desk with Kim. We're going to get everybody situated. Shout out. Thanks for being here. Hey, the watch party will be in this channel on Discord and YouTube. We start the watch party at 7:30. I'll see you guys in about an hour. Peace, y'all. Remember, your friends don't know, but Rico knows, and I'm out.
I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify. The things that you believe in have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.